What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Axe Creation. And in this week's lesson, we're going to check out some chord inversions that'll help us comp better rhythms, become better rhythm players, and help us navigate all over the fretboard. All right, so what we're going to use today is we're going to use drop 2 voicings, scary jazz chords, but we're not really going to get into any of that. We're just going to look at 7th chords over a blues progression. Blues progression on this channel? Yes, right? I like to kill as many birds with one stone as possible, and practicing chord inversions over a chord progression is going to be great for a lot of different things. And for this lesson, we're going to be focusing on the first 4 strings of the guitar, okay? So we're going to go over 12-bar blues, but I'm going to show you here in this example. So if I put my root note on the D string, if I play 5 on the 4th string here, and I play 5, 9, 12, 15. Well, those 4 notes spell this G7 chord or a dominant 7 chord, which is just the type of chord quality or the way a chord sounds. If you don't know what that term dominant means, you can associate it with major, minor, dominant, right? Those are really the only 3 chords we have: bright, dark, and tension. And your dominant chords are tension chords. And when you play over a 12-bar blues, we're actually using all 7th chords, okay? So we're gonna build a chord on every one of these notes. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna play 5, 7, power chord, 6 with our middle finger, 7 with our pinky. That is going to give us a G7 right on the G, right? So now maybe we're playing a 12-bar blues or just a blues or a comping rhythm in general. Sounds great, great voicing, okay? But we can expand that idea up the neck, right? So we can have 4 different chord voicings. Now take this chord, move it up to 8th position, take your middle finger, put it on the D string, take your first finger, put it on the B string. Now your chord is 9, 10, 8, 10. Keep going up. You might recognize this one. Basically gonna bar 12, 12, 12, 12, 13. Middle finger on the high string. And the last one, put this up to 15, take your middle finger, put it on the D string. Getting a little crammed up here, so I'm gonna go take it down an octave. 15 minus 12 is 3. Right? And you've played this before if you played the chord we started with, this G7, right? I take this nice, happy G major chord, I take my pinky out of it, comes G7, chop off power chord on the 2 low strings, and I'm left with that, right? 3, 4, 3, 3. So now all of those inversions are all G7, same 4 notes. So now I can apply that to the chords of a 12-bar blues. So let's look at the key of D, for example. We do a lot of drop D, a lot of tool on this channel. So let's stick with the root note that we might be familiar with. We have open D. I can move that up to this position, 4, 5, 3, 5. 7, 7, 7, 8. 10, 11, 10, 10. And then back to the 12th position or open position. Okay? We already did the G chord. So now we can do the same thing for A. A is here, so all of those chords just up a whole step higher, okay? And you can check those out in the tabs, right? So what do I like to do for practice? I like to play through these inversions, come up with a comping rhythm, and that can be different every time, but you can be something like this. something like that where I'm playing through a chord progression, but I'm using all of those different inversions to kind of comp my way through the progression, right? I'm playing over a chord progression, I'm learning my way around the fretboard, and I'm working on my rhythms. Lots of things you can do. And then you could also, obviously, another way to practice that is to do it in one position. Find out where all of those voicings are in the same position. For example, let's say I'm in 10th position. Say we were in D before, right? 10th position D. Got my D7 chord here. Here we are, right? So now I can D7. Now the closest G7 can either be here or here. And then A7. You guys get the point, right? So you can go horizontally across the string set, or you can stay in position and go through all of those different voicings. There you go. Some fancy drop 2 jazz voicings, playing over a blues progression, working on our rhythm. What is going on, right? Maybe we'll revisit this in like a drop D and talk about how we can play over it, or at least find those chord tones initially to begin that process. All right, so down in the description below, you can find links for all the tabs. And as always, let me know what you come up with. Until then, I'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.